Good morning. No recording or no quote today, but this lecture is for pre-algebra chapter 4, lesson 2, exponents. This will be a pretty short lesson because it's basically review. All right. So the big number in an exponent is called the base. The small number is called the exponent, and when you have a base and exponent together, it's called the power. So that's the power. All right. So anything to the 0 power is 1. So 2 to the 0 power is 1. 10 to the 0 power is 1. 45 to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so this is just something you need to memorize. It goes along with the pattern of exponents, which I won't explain unless you want me to in class. Just know that anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so anything to the second power means you're multiplying it twice. And that actually goes back to how exponents work. And I'm sure this is review, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. The exponent tells you how many times the bases multiplied together. So if I have 2 to the 6th power, it's like saying, all right, I have 6 2's and they're all being multiplied. Okay? So whenever I have something to the second power, it just has a special name called being squared. So something squared means something to the second power. So if I have 3 to the second power, it means 3 times 3, which is equal to 2, because the exponent tells me how many times to multiply my base times itself. So since I have an exponent of 2, I'm going to have 2 3's. All right, and 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 squared is 9. All right, so if I have x squared, it means x times x, but I don't know what x is, so I just have to leave it at that. All right, cubed is something to the third power, which means, like if I have 4 to the third, it means I have 3 4's being multiplied together. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is actually not 64. 4 to the third power, it is 64. My bad, I was right. That is correct, because 4 times 16 is 64. Okay, so that's what we call cubed. Cubed is the special name for anything to the third power. So if I said 16 cubed, it would mean 16 times 16 times 16. All right, so you got to get used to that. All right, and then if we have x cubed, it would be x times x times x. All right, so here's the little special thing about negatives or negative signs. If we don't have parentheses in the problem, like this example here, the negative sign doesn't really apply until the very end. So the exponent of 4 is only going to affect the 7, and then the negative sign is going to come after. So it's going to be 7 times 7 times 7 times 7, and then the opposite of that, which is the negative, 2,401. All right, now if we have parentheses, it basically means negative 7 to the 4th power, whereas the one above was 7 to the 4th, the opposite of 7 to the 4th power, whereas here we have negative 7 to the 4th power. Negative 7 to the 4th power means we have 4 negative 7's. A negative times a negative is a positive times a negative is a negative times a positive is a negative times a negative is a positive. So my answer will be positive for this situation every time this is an even number. Okay, if it was an odd number, it would give me a negative answer. But since it is an even number, 4, it's going to give me a positive 2,401. Okay, last slide. Again, this is a pretty short lecture. All right, so let's go ahead and write some of these repeated multiplication problems as an exponent. So 6 times 6 times 6, well, that's 4 6's all being multiplied together. Remember, we're dealing with multiplication right now, not addition, and so it's going to be 6 to the 4th power, which then simplifies, I guess, to, let me do the math real quick, 1,296. So 4 times y times x times y. Well, let's put the y's together because they have the same variable. So it's going to be 4 times x times y to the second. And it's y to the second because I have 2 y's. All right, next I have negative 11 times negative 11 times negative 11 times negative 11, which would then be negative 11 to the 4th power. And then I have negative 5 times x times y times y times x. And actually, I forgot the 2. There we go. So it's going to be negative 5 times x to the third times y to the second. And normally we put these things in alphabetical order, but it's not 100% necessary. You just need to make sure that your exponent represents the number of times that letter or number is being multiplied by itself. Okay? All right, so orders of operations, working inside the grouping symbols, simplify any term with exponents, then multiply and divide from left to right, and then add and subtract from left to right. So here's my first problem. 2 times 5 to the second plus 4 times negative 3 to the third power. So 5 to the second power is 5 times 5, which is 25. And negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3, since it is an odd number, my answer will be negative 27. So now I have 2 times 25 plus 4 times negative 27. Now that I've simplified the parentheses and the exponents, I'm now on to multiplying and dividing from left to right. So I need to multiply 2 times 25 and 4 times negative 27, and I'm going to get 50 plus negative 108. 50 plus negative 108 is negative 58. So that is the answer. All right, so multiply. We're going to do the grouping symbols, then we're going to have exponents, and then we're going to multiply and divide from left to right, and then we're going to add and subtract from left to right. All right, last problem. We have 3a to the second plus 6, for a equals negative 5. So it means I'm going to replace a with negative 5. Now, whenever you're replacing a variable with a number, you make sure that number is in parentheses, like so. So it's going to be 3 times negative 5 to the second power plus 6. Now remember, the exponent affects the thing right in front of it. So it's literally going to be 3 times 25, because negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Then we're going to do multiplication from left to right. 3 times 25 is 3 times 25 is 75. And then we're going to add from left to right. 75 plus 6 is 81. All right, that ends the video for today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Bye.